One big in, one big out headlines. Our round 11 team list. There's plenty to talk about as always, and along with going through this video is a lot of my best picks and what I generally think about a lot of guys. And if you haven't gone through those previous videos, the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday wrap-up shows, that's where I go through all of the players in detail and my reaction to their scores, how they played, what they're going to look like for the next few weeks. Get around that, guys, as well as these videos coming up. Obviously, the video with Scoot, the buy, hold, risk it, sell, is a lot of his kind of thoughts around players, and then our general discussion between the two and making our clear call as a buy, hold, risk it, go for the biscuit or the sell in that one as well. So let's get into these round 11 team lists, and to kick it off with the Storm and the Broncos. The big thing for the Storm is that Tui Kamikamica is a good chance of returning in this one, given he's in the reserves in the 21 jersey. I think he's going to be really helpful for this side, and they do need him against this Broncos team who is doing really, really well. If you're looking at the players in the Storm system, obviously they have a bye in round 13, and clearly Meaney has been the guy that's been dominating, along with Munster there. Harry Grant, always a great one to have in your side. I think he's probably going to be a clear hold, guys, over the entirety of the Origin period, given he is the best hooker available. If you're looking at Nelson, there is a little bit of a rib complaint with him, so probably hold off from buying now. If you do have him right now, he's a clear hold, I think, especially if you bought him last week. Trent Oro as well, he's probably a clear hold for your side. I think he'll have to be this week for mine when we're making big decisions in the squad currently, with potentially a few trades needing to be made to get a good 17 on the park. If you've got a mixture of these guys that are out, you've got one or two of these duds, and then you've got some Dolphin players, it does make it hard to get a decent 17 on the park. Broncos side, Walsh is a clear hold, guys. You've got really no changes there. Kurt Cable did have a head knock, has been named. So if there's any chance of someone coming in to that starting side from there, it's actually interesting. Like, do they just bring Palacia back? Who do they play on that edge, though? Do they go for Piakura? It's going to be interesting how that plays out. But yeah, Broncos side of things, Carrigan's still a holder, guys, all the way until Origin. Similar with Payne Haas. I think Payne's going to have a big one this week. He will need to for them to get up against this Storm side. Let's go to the Dogs and the Warriors. And for those that have Oluwapu or are looking to bring him in, still hasn't been named to start. So yes, he's in the first few games of the round, which is helpful to know if he does happen to move in. But I'd say they keep things as is right now, with Reynolds in the 6 moving a little bit to the middle, and then coming out for Oluwapu in that one. So their bench is pretty soft, to be honest with you. Ockenbaugh, Pele, and also Edwards. So I'd imagine big minutes for guys like Fatala Mariner. Preston will get the 80, so will Waddell. Tavita get his 45 or 50, whatever he's going to do. And King will probably be getting big minutes as well. So that's all the interesting news, really, for the Dogs, with our good man Josh Adokar coming back. So that should help Alamotti a bit if you are holding him, but he's still pretty well a sell. Hayes Perham's doing great, guys, so holding him at least through to round 13. You can make a decision from there. Warriors, our big out, guys, is Jackson Ford has succumbed to the concussion. It was Cat 2, but still not ideal. He didn't return to the game, and he will miss this game as well, with about a 5 to 6 day turnaround, which not ideal. Josh Curran, if you did trade him in, you do get him for some big minutes in this one. You'd imagine Tohu Harris plays big ones again with Ale Sifakula as well on the bench. Some of those low minute guys. Freddie Lussick will switch with Egan, depending who starts or comes off the bench, but they'll split the 80 minutes there, and then Walker playing through the middle as well. We'll spell Bunty mainly, and Adam Fanua-Blake and Tohu playing big minutes in that one. So really the Warriors side of the ball, there's a few changes there. Rocco Berry comes in at centre. Not really of any relevance, guys. We know what happened with him last year. And Ronald Volkman comes in to the 6th role, with Walker moving back to the bench. So again, don't look at Volkman. It will mean Johnson just continues to dominate, and hopefully a big score from him in this one. Panthers and the Roosters, guys, there's not too much to talk about, to be honest with you. Hoskin keeps his spot. Same with Sorensen. We don't see any sort of movement on the interchange, and Liam Martin's in a 21. So really, as I said, not a lot going on. You've got Garner and Martin in there as well. I think Martin, they probably give another week, but they're giving him every chance to come back and play, given this is a pretty important game, and Panthers haven't been winning every game, so there's a little bit more of a chance that they'd risk certain guys. If you're looking at anyone in the outside backs for the Panthers, Dylan Edwards is your guy, obviously. To'o, I think after that good score, you can hold on to him now. Hopefully make a little bit, hopefully get some good scores against a pretty poor Roosters side at the moment. Guys like Cleary, obviously, still a good captaincy option in this one, given that the Roosters have been pretty poor. Isaiah Yeo doing his thing. Hosking still a hold. Kenny is a hold or a sell. Up to you on that one. Sonny Luke, I think you look to try and sell at some point for sure. On the Roosters side, we're wanting a big game from Tedesco at some point. Please, Sully, you need to get rid of him ASAP. Billy Smith, he's someone that we will cover, but at this stage, you just need to see him play multiple games in a row. He did look great, but every time they went left, they were trying something, and he did have a little bit of space down the right edge of the Cows, so something that won't happen each and every week, and I doubt that happens this week with the Cleary, Crichton, To'o side for sure. But yeah, could happen for sure. Manu keeps his spot. Sam Walker still in the reserves, but he was last week as well. The big in this week, guys, is Brandon Smith. I'm very happy that he's been named, and looks like he should be fine. It looked like he was carrying a bit of his shoulder or his wrist or something like that, but maybe it's just a burner, and I hope so. He's always in the wars, that man. But we definitely need his scoring this week in the mids, especially there. Angus Crichton gets his start, guys, so keep a closer eye on him. Obviously, that good score last week helps out his money losses, but not good for anyone who's looking to bring him in anytime soon. But their buy in round 13 doesn't really help that at all. Egan Butcher is out with that Cat 1 last week. Bunnies and the Tigers. On the Bun side, really not too much there. Hame Sele is starting, same with Totola. Murray, all good from his head high there. Host and Cheekham in that starting spot as well. So everything stays the same. Guys, in this one, interchange is full of forwards. So middles and an edge there with Cartwright. And nothing really changes for them, which is great news. And very much the same for the Tigers. Asu Kapoa goes back to the interchange bench. John Bateman is back to start. So likely, they were talking about him just having some tightness. And then, coming into end of the warm-up there, he did a little bit of a hammy or strained it. Must be a very slight strain that just, kind of wasn't worth it, I suppose, which was good that they didn't push it, because that's when it does go, and it ends up being in not a good way. Reserve still the same, guys. Still Blory, still Dane Laurie on that position, and Bullard keeps his spot. Thank goodness. They can't really move him on, though, can they? Cowboys and Dragons in this side. We've got Drinkwater, still a potential buy, guys, if you're looking at him. And, guys like Townsend back, looks like he's good to go, which is awesome. Robson, still a buy. Lukey, you can now get a look at him if you're interested in him. You can watch for a week. Hopefully you can come out and get a 30-odd or 40, and then you might want to pick him up. I'll be playing him this week, so I'm hoping for a 50, and I think that he can get upwards of about 65 minutes in this one. Hopefully, being at home for the Cowboys, that it will be a nice dry weather footy game, and he can get plenty of attacking stats to go along with some better defensive stats from him. He had Ruben Cotter, who was doing really well last week, and obviously had the low minutes before. It looks like he will be fine now, guys. He was carrying a little bit of an injury, it seems, and when they were getting smashed, there was no point playing him for bigger minutes. That's obviously a little bit of a worry, but you hope that he would come out and be able to get a good score and some good minutes again. In this one, Jakey Granville made some cash last week, got a decent score, and I think he can do the same. And then, that's really all we need to say from the Cow side of the ball. On the Dragon side, there's Sloan, and he's a very contentious topic, and I think that, because he's had 2 bad ones in a row now, I thought he would bounce back. Every chance he can come out against the Cows and do really well, but that's completely up to you how you want to play this. If you're not too stressed about him losing some cash, remember he can come out and get 50 and really stop any of those cash losses, which was the same last week. If he got like 40, he would have been fine. This week he needs to get a 50 plus to kind of help any of that. And if you're having a lot of issues in your side, you probably have to hold him. If you don't, then you're happy to sell him, and that's completely fine. I think in that one, Ben Hunt, if you hold on to him still, I would definitely continue that. DeBellin and Bird keep their position. Sullivan in the 14. I imagine they'll keep the same play this week with Sullivan coming on and Hunt going into 9 a little bit. They do need to make things work this time. Moses Mbai in the 9 position, as always, there with Little not there at all. So that's that one. Jaden Su'A is an interesting one. A few people have been asking me about him, and he's got 3 50s in a row in amongst the injury that he had. He's been great, and he's definitely someone to look at in your side. He's at a bit of an awkward price, but one that in this Dragon side you could get away with him playing all the way through till round 16 in that one. Let's go to Raiders Eels to round out your Saturday night. And for the Raiders, boys, we do see Hopewadi come back in for Xavier Savage, and that was kind of expected. Hop was out just for the 1 week. I think he had his sister's wedding or something like that. which was interesting that he gets straight back into the side after that. He must have spoke to Sticky, and Albert's been playing pretty well, so he must have been okay to let him go there. Corey Horsburgh still named to 13. I think is a great buy team there, and Joseph Tapane is still a solid, in a solid position this week, and hopefully 50 odd minutes for him again, continuing with their same interchange bench as last week. So I think the minutes will be there. I think Horsburgh probably, if it's a closer game, plays bigger minutes in this one again, 65 to 70, and I'll be trying to get him in my side if possible. If you're looking at the Eels, nothing really changes for them apart from Moses going out, Jake Arthur coming in. I think, Brownie will kind of run the show a little bit more. Arthur will do some kicking as well, but I think they'll kind of split those numbers there. And you saw what happened when Moses was out at the back end of last year, that Brownie took over a little bit, and obviously great news for having him in my side. And if you're looking at him, probably the last week you want to get him, to be honest with you. This is where you should be able to get a good score out of him, and then he's probably going to be a bit too expensive at like closer to 740, 750. If he can do well again, that's where he'll be at. And I'd say that's probably just a little bit too expensive for a guy that, he goes on little runs like he did last year, and then he can be a 40s guy, which you saw all of the start of this year for sure. But yeah, Jake Arthur, not an option, guys. Greg, you're just holding on to. Lane, I think you'd stay away from for a while. Hudson Young, on the other side in the Raiders, still a solid option as well. He'll be a keeper in that edge position. Jermaine Hopgood, if you're looking at him, nothing changes for their bench, so expect similar minutes and probably a 50 or so score. It could go under, could go above that, but yeah, that's kind of where he's at. And if you're liking Madison and where he's at the moment, sitting close to that 800k, then he'll do a cracking job for you as well. He just ran the show last week. He was so good. Knights, they come back after their bye, and we obviously lose the Dolphins in this one if you're looking for them. But the Knights side, Miller comes back, and if you have traded out him, this is going to be a really tough game for you to watch. If he can come out and do really, really well, good for us. And if he goes poorly, then great trade. It worked out all right. But obviously with them playing round 13 now, and then we can decide what we want to do with any of these Knights players from there. Greg Marzou, anyone owns him, still probably holding this game for sure. And then you've got Phoenix Crossan, if you're holding on to him. That's worked out okay that Kurt Mann is not playing with that abdominal injury. And the only man that you'd expect to come on and play a little bit 9 would either be Gamble in that 14 jersey, or potentially Adam Elliott, who does return. Elliott, there's an interesting one. Let's see him lose plenty of cash there over the first few weeks of his return. And then we can potentially look at picking him up at some point. Maybe after round 14 could be really fun. Maybe closer to round 16. And then on the other side, we got Frizzell. Obviously, there's still the strong option there. On the other side, you've got the Titans boys. Jaden Campbell keeps his spot, obviously, with Brimson out for a while. Wouldn't be looking to pick him up, guys, but a clear hold. Tanner Boyd, I just wanted my team, man. It's so sad. Anyway, forwards, so you got Fodawaker. If you're looking at head-to-head, guys, Tanner Boyd, Fodawaker, all great purchases. Tino doing well. Dave Fafita, I've been talking about being a must-have for head-to-head guys for a while. And for overall guys, he was probably a pickup a couple of weeks ago. It's very hard to pick him up now with 2 games before the bye. And then also the they're buying round 16 as well. And let's finish it off with the Eagles and the Sharks. We're going to back it up with Hines as captain again. Come on, son. Have a bounce back here against the Manly boys, who have been struggling a lot. And can Manly bounce back in this game at their home ground? They didn't play very good a couple of weeks ago at home. So, that's something to think about there for sure. Unfortunately for us McInnes owners, Finucane comes back into the starting side, but that was the plan last week as well. So maybe that's a bit of a change in after by the time Sunday comes around. But I think Finucane with a longer turnaround is going to be helpful for him. That full week, a week and a bit, 8 days they had turnaround. So Finucane should be able to get back to decent minutes. And I'm a little bit worried for McInnes, but lower break even, he should make money and get you like a 40 odd anyway. But if he can get big tackles and what he did the other day, then even in a 48-minute effort, he can get you up to a 50 odd 60. So that was great news from McInnes. Trindle's still in the 18 jersey. And that's really all, guys. Paseka, I think he's going to do pretty well this week. If you're looking at Tom Trbojevic, he's just such a sell at the moment, isn't he? You kind of see him doing super well against the Sharkies, but another good week to rest might help him out a little bit. Then they need to bounce back, don't they? Like Garrick doing okay, but he's pretty cheap as well, so a lot of people will be looking at him. Kepi in there as well. Just the minutes are there, but the point scoring is not. That's all I'll look at in these team lists, guys. I wish you all the best of luck with your squads now. The team lists are out. You can muck around with those trades, and obviously those are the guys that send me DMs or jump in and put your team into that team analysis the big team picture with your writing on it. I'll get that into the video that I do at the back end of the week. And yeah, we'll get into your questions as well. Get into the questions for Jamie, and we'll have a cracking week, guys. Enjoy it.